What's going on, y'all? It's Jason Reviews here, back at it again with another video. As you guys can see, doing our recap for NOME Impact 2v2 event. Before I get into it, as you can see, I'm going to be ranking the teams for it. A little bit of a quicker recap style. I'm not going to sit here and go too in on any of the teams unless, one of them was over the top amazing or one of them was over the top bad. Might have a little fun there. But besides that, just quick ranking of the teams. Cool event. I give it a 4 out of 10. So really not even a cool event. Event. Thank God the main event, and even Danny and Hustle versus Lou and Jerry was good, because if not for that little 2-battle spurt at the end, we could be talking about this being like a cataclysmic URL event. No more 2-on-2. You know what I'm saying, for NOME. Let's just do NOME and let's just do SM. If we're going to do 2-on-2s, how about we just do double impact? Just do a double impact card. I think the fact that this has NOME branded on it hurt it a little bit. But like I said, at the end, you get some good performances. Even early in the card, there's still some standout performances, but some of the battles lack competitiveness. Some of them were terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like that's part of what I thought might happen in a 2v2 event. Maybe some people taking, lack of seriousness, things of that nature. But overall, there's a few, redeemable things to talk about. There's some things that are unredeemable, but they were just really funny. So without further ado, let's start by ranking all the teams from NOME Impact. So, starting at number 12, and like I said, it's not going to go super duper rapid fire, but we're definitely going to go a little bit quicker than usual. So, at number 12, I actually have, hard to debate, 11 and 12 are really flippable, but I have Hollow and Calico. Crazy enough, they don't even own the cringiest part of this battle, but there is a complete lack of seriousness, particularly by Calico, where he's rapping in the crowd. He said, I'm sitting here with rum, and Oh Red's a bum. Ridiculous. Best part of the round really was the conversational rebuttal when Red and Suge were kind of having their horrific rounds. This man Calico said, yo, that shit is trash, and he really don't know. That's what he told Oh Red. He said he does not know that shit is trash. That's crazy, which was kind of hilarious, just conversationally speaking, but it's terrible. There's no pace. There's no chemistry. Calico is just not meant for 2-on-2s. Love Calico, one of the best battle rappers of all time. In my opinion, one of the top 5 battle rappers of all time, but he clearly doesn't take the 2-on-2s very seriously, as me and a lot of others don't as fans, right? And he sees that, and as a battler, he completely just throws it. And then you got Hollow, who... truth be told, Hollow just wasn't very good here. I believe his opening bar of the battle is, I ride with the hose like a fire truck. So that's just... And then from there is a little... There's no redeemable qualities. I'm trying to do it, but I thought that they both they both look washed, and it's crazy. I don't think individually both of them are washed. I think maybe Hollow's a little farther down the hill, that little farther up the hill than Calico. But there's still value in their one-on-one battles, but just this one, not good. And then from number 11, as you probably guessed for those that watch, we have Suge and Oh Red. This could really be 12, and the only reason it's not is because of Shotgun Suge. I think Shotgun Suge really can't, like, in the first round, has this ISO, and it's the only part of this battle you're like, yo, that's good. And just, Oh Red, dog. Oh Red. And similar to Hollow and Cal, and just how I feel about the way this battle was booked overall, nobody was put in this position to succeed. I've said this since the beginning. Suge, I get that he is the partner swaps, and he asked for Oh Red, but Oh Red just lost his voice in front of 90 people. You put him in front of 1,000. That's poor booking, and it's not fair. It's like he can't do it. And then, not that he's a bad rapper. We know how he is in a small room. We know just lyrically how Oh Red is. That brother can't perform in front of 1,000 people, you know what I'm saying, physically. So he wasn't set up for victory. Hollow and Cal, I don't think was ever had any intentions of being a good team. So you have Suge is really the only reason this is at 11 is that Suge had some decent moments. That's it. But Oh Red losing his voice, quitting, the crowd literally telling him to stop rapping. It's egregious. It's historically kind of embarrassing. And of all the Oh Red situations we had, this has been the worst. So Oh Red and Suge at 11. At number 10, we do have some Flair, Soul, and Foots. I'm not going to say too shocked. I mean, I did have this close going in. I had a 2-1 Edge, DNA, and Challenger. We'll definitely talk about them a little bit farther down the line here. But I thought the Flair and Foot to be competitive, and outside of a pretty good second round that ended weird, they really weren't, man. I had them getting 30'd. I thought their first and third lacked a lot, especially the first thought was particularly light. A little bit of, not chemistry, but crowd control issues. I don't feel like they were ever not on the same page as much as they just couldn't really figure out the 1,000 room, especially after the momentum momentum they faced. And then on top of that, I thought Foots really got out of his body a couple times. I think at the end of the second, you see him being like, oh, y'all love him. Y'all love the vets. Oh, y'all cheer for him. And Flair's like, yo, relax, bro, relax. So for all those reasons, Flair, Soul, and Foots, I think it'll be a good lesson for them to kind of get, like, smoke like this in a 2v2 is much better than figuring it out 1v1, and now it might even be an angle on you type of loss. So Flair, Soul, and Foots, a little bit disappointingly come in at number 10 on the list. Moving right along, at number 9, another one that is disappointing, to say the least, is Ave and Font. Now, this is one that people pencil in immediately to be one of the best teams of the card. I think the only issue with it, a few issues with it, is one, I think people underrated Ave and Fonz losing to Ttop and Swamp separately, and just the fact that when it comes to Ttop and Swamp, punches really don't get through. I think between the two of them, the one battle where a puncher is really giving either of them issues is like Nitty and Ttop. You know what I'm saying? But Swamp is Nitty, Fonz, Twerk, right? And then you look at Ttop. Ttop is beat Ave. You know what I'm saying? Big K. I'm forgetting one more. My apologies, but I know Av is beat. You know what I'm saying? A plethora of punchers. So, JC. It depends if you count JC as a puncher. But all that being said, obviously there was track record there. On top of that, extremely high expectations for a guy Fonz, who hasn't really always figured it out on the big stage. And their third rounds are amazing. They both ISO for half of the round. That was the best part. But their pace in the first two rounds really ended up coming off as repetitive and redundant. I think as a puncher, the worst place to be at is when it's repetitive and you just feel like it's 2-bar, 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 and they start blending in together. The references start all bleeding in together. It just kind of becomes a round of raps. And it's just a really tough spot to be in for 2 rounds. Kind of got handled. Have a third that lives up to their hype, but too little, too late. That third puts them above some of these guys here at the bottom of the list, but not the craziest overall. From there, number 8, Sheed and Swervo, half of the surprise battle. Surprise battle was too goddamn long. No need for the surprise battle to be an hour, even though both teams obviously are going to make it here, like middle pack of the list. Has more to do with other guys fucking up than them doing anything too amazing. Outside of Sheed Happens, extremely impressed with Sheed Happens. Really controlled, had the best haymakers of the battle, and the Shawn Michaels haymaker was crazy. Only reason they're not a little higher is I thought Swervo looked really lost up there for a round and a half. The constant running it back. Please stop running. I know you see it a lot. I feel like with the new guys at the stage, shit, if I was a new guy battle rapper, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to judge too much in front of 1,000 people. I understand this is extremely difficult. But I feel like Swervo looked really lost up there, running it back, looking nervous, cutting Sheed off the middle of his bar to kind of figure out where they're at. And that disorganization, although Sheed was great, I feel like it's a team, and that part didn't really do it for me. So, Sheed, your individual performance, puts the team here, but overall, I thought the chemistry was a little crazy and the timing. And at number 7, maybe I'm in the unpopular opinion, but I have Slade and Authentic. You know what I'm saying? I actually had them winning the battle versus Sheed. First, finally, have 2 people, a battle where both teams. By the way, Suge and Oh Red and Hollow and Cow, no one won. That's why you didn't get a winner. But as for this the surprise battle, I had Kid Slade and Authentic edging the first. Sheed and Swervo clearly got the second masterclass round. Then I kind of clearly had Slade and Authentic getting the third. So I edged in the battle, but pretty good chemistry. Surprised at that. I think Authentic had a little bit. The crowd got him a little bit off his game, too. I don't think it was as evident as Swervo. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he was much of a visual sore for me, where I felt like he was really, really losing it. But crowd reaction got to him a little bit as the battle went on, obviously plateauing them kind of here. But I thought him and Slade were kind of smoother in their chemistry, which I wouldn't have expected, going into it. And overall, I edged in the battle. You get the battle to Sheed and Swervo. You can flip this all around. I have absolutely no problem with it. But surprise battle was decent, but can't be an hour. I mean, that's a malpractice of production. Now we finally enter, the top half of the list. At number 6, Danny and Hustle. Really has a lot to do with Hustle just being a great performer here. This is after the Oh Red tragedy, the Calico debacle. So after you get that battle, you get Danny and Hustle. And I just feel like Hustle's energy is really what brings it here. And you hear me saying hustle. That's because Danny really wasn't good this battle. Danny's first, I think he does a really good job propelling Hustle's strengths. I think he has some great punches in there, too. So their first round overall, really liked it. You know what I'm saying? But then you get to their second, and when Danny has that second rebuttal about Lou's mother being on her period, the plane crashed fast. We were flying like this, engine blew, plane crashed. You know what I'm saying? Now, is that to say the rest of their performance is bad? No. This is the same round where Miss Hustle shook her ass. But apart from all that, you know what I'm saying, Hustle giving us that show, Hustle gave us a performance in the second and third as well. I think that she was really consistent first to third. And if you rank some individual performers here, Hustle might really be on the top half of the card. But I feel like Danny held her down at portions. Big reason why I actually think they lost that battle. Just material-wise, I think it's been a rough year for Danny on that front. Kind of had some real air balls. I know he's probably stretched himself thin, always battling everywhere, but man, I can't excuse some of this material. I feel like I'm hearing a lot more OBC. Really disappointed in Danny in this one, but Hustle was able to manage kind of bringing them to the top half of the list when it comes to team performances. From there, Ttop and Swamp, who, as I said earlier, clearly won the first and second versus Ave and Font, and actually their first is one of my favorite rounds of the night. Thought they had a lot of real talk. A lot of different attacks, jokes, and the stage presence, man. Swamp looks comfortable up there. Certified top tier. There's nothing to talk about. Any situation versus any comp. Whether he wins or loses, he looks unbothered at this point, and there's a lot more winning than losing that's been going on. And Ttop did a great job complimenting that. Both of them just particularly do well against punchers, like I said. And on top of that, the expectation curve of them getting smoked when this was always going to be an extremely close battle, if not favored in their direction. And they pick up a 2-1 clear win for it. Good performance to kick off the top 5. At number 4, we have the counterpart of Danny and Hustle with Lou Castro and Jerry West. Went on to win this battle pretty clearly by the fan vote. Second and third, most certainly. You know what I'm saying? I think the first is debatable in my opinion, but many gave that to Lou and Jerry as well. And it's just energy. That's all this comes down to. I don't even feel like, while they did have crazy punches, it was just the craziest, in terms of what they wrote, or even team chemistry for that part. You know what I'm saying? But it's energy. You know what I'm saying? People love Luke, particularly in the 2-on-2, the yelling. There was times where he was just yelling setups and people were cheering. And it does show a great amount of crowd control and star power at that. Can it transfer to one-on-one battles? Skeptical, because a lot of this, like I said, is yelling setups. It's the fact that the crowd was dead, so just have any energy or charisma brought them back. But the writing didn't particularly blow me away. But with all that being said, obviously, if you have some of the best energy and stage presence of the night, and you win your battle in one of the better battles of the night, got to give them their credit. Jerry's probably SM bound, and now there's a lot more focus on Luke Castro's next 1v1 3-rounder. So, little net positive kind of performance for both, and that's what lands them at number 4 on the list. Now we can run down the final 3 teams here. At number 3, I actually have Gichi and Rock, every fucking gun title at number 3 for performances. And I thought they started really slow. I thought their first was slow. I thought their second picked up a little bit. Wasn't too overly impressed with it, but just a little bit more. I guess it was just closer because Nitty and Twerk's first to second has a drop-off. Not too drastic of a drop-off, but a drop-off. But overall, I was really disappointed. Then you get into the third, the Rock ISO for most of the round, and then the Gichi ISO at the end. Ave and Font is by far their best round. I mean, Rock was cooking. Rock was cooking in that third. Loved his ISO third, and I thought Gichi followed it up well. The first and second, like I said, jabs, really light-ish for the most part, but played part of the main event. Thought that ended up being my battle of the night pick, so credit for being part of that. And then with the third round that I think is extremely explosive, a highlight round. Got to give them their credit. 2 Hall of Famers put it together. Give a good performance. And then at number 2, the runner-up spot, their counterpart, really one of the most exciting parts of this card going in. Gun Orthodox, Rum Diddy, and New Jersey Twerk obviously was the team that people were coming to see. And from the first round, they pull 8. Nitty isn't an alien, literally dressed up like an alien. So they're pulling out the theatrics. Obviously, they're going out there. From there, their first round is long as hell, but it's really good, 9 minutes. They said they were going to surpass the gun titles first. Don't really think they did that, but I think this was an amazing first round nonetheless. Especially from a writing perspective. I mean, I can't praise enough all the different types of haymakers they had. It's exactly what you wanted it to be going into this battle. And I thought their second was good too, although I thought really all 3 of their rounds were good. I think the crowd's energy goes away, and somehow this material even though there was a bunch of reactions, it still wasn't appreciated enough. The Riverbank bar, that BC scheme was just ridiculous. The impressions, so they showed versatility, great stage presence and showmanship, and obviously the writing is what we were looking for, and it was as good as we expected. Even if the reactions don't meet up to it, because you have surprise battles going on for an hour, and you got Oh Red taking the fucking energy out of the building. Why is he on that stage? When you got all these little things, you were saying that it's just kind of like weird booking. You're going to lose time and possibly push some energy off your main event. Was it terrible to the point that they could kill the footage? No, but I think there definitely could have been more of a lively crowd, really for both sides, but specifically such a writing-heavy, energy-heavy side with Nitty and Twerk. But I did have them winning the first and second. People were saying the second are close. Thought I had them winning it pretty comfy, but at the end of the day, it's a 2-on-2. You know what I'm saying? They definitely didn't like blow them out of the water in the second. And I loved their first, and for all that, had them as the second best performers of the night. And then at number 1, PG Killers, DNA and John made an example out of Saflair Soul and Foots, and I'd edged them going into the battle 2-1 just because I believed that DNA so much as a 2-on-2 battle. A little skeptical of John in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? There was some things and how he's battled recently just in general. But he was fire, and I think, and that's with DNA, I think, have taken the reins to a lot with the flow pockets. I mean, you could put DNA with anyone into 2-on-2, and he is just going to figure it out. He's probably the best 2-on-2 battler of all time at this point, one of the top 10 best battle rappers of all time, and he's not 10 at that. Just a great showing. Dominant 3-0 in my opinion, with the second being close, but their second was a masterpiece. The contract talk, the different angles they took, I mean, just overall it was vets doing vet shit, and in my opinion, DNA and John were pretty clearly the performers of the night and the best team from NOME Impact. And that is, my full ranking here, the teams. So just to actually go down the results really quick, I did have Authentic and Kid Slade 2-1 edge, first debatable edge, lost the second clear, won the third clear. As for Suge and Oh Red and Hollow and Calico, there's no result that is going to redeem us from the horrific attack on hip-hop that this battle presented. So I'm not even giving you a winner for that battle. As for Lou and Jerry, had them winning the second and the third clear, edged the first to Danny and Hustle. Ave and Font lost 2-1 clear in the first 2 rounds to Ttop and Swamp. Gun Orthodox, I had winning the first 2 rounds versus Gichi and Rock, losing the third clear, comfortably edging the second, but I see a lot of people giving Gichi and Rock the second as well. DNA and John 30'd Saflair Soul and Foots, and I believe that is the full wrap-up of all the teams, the results, the rankings. Not the craziest event overall. Just wanted to throw in here how I felt about the teams. We are moving on to SM, I promise you. You always say there's going to be some content coming out this week, a little creatively, and soon we are going to be getting an SM. I'm going to be putting out an SM wish list video because we're going to need SM. You know what I'm saying? This is URL has not had a good first 6 count. You know what I'm saying? First 6 months of the year, doesn't have a standout one-on-one event, doesn't have really a standout battle unless you could count maybe Nitty and Saflair, maybe Jerry and Luke Castro. But there's a lack of that explosiveness. I think it's very fixable. You know what I'm saying? I thought that they had a slow start last year. Punting Gnome as a 2-on-2 event was a little ridiculous. But if SM's good and the volume's good, you get maybe even a couple good app events in there, all of a sudden you know what I'm saying, you throw about 4 times more events than anyone, so you just need a couple good ones to land, and you're probably, you know what I'm saying, going to be back in the good graces. But we're going to be heading to all that over the next few weeks. Let me know down in the comments, what do you thought of this event? I'm expecting negative comments for the most part if you're going to tell me. But, and then who was your performer of the night? Like DNA and John, I know some people love Lou and Jerry. Some people really love Gun Orthodox and what Gichi and Rock had to offer. So just let me know down below in the comments. But it's been J Smo Reviews again, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.